Tally ho.
Yes, there are.
Ready to roll?
Yep.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Career Transition Workshop. My name is John Luce, and I'll be your facilitator for today. And we want to welcome you and also express many thanks to Stonebriar Community Church, who supports and sponsors this ministry, which we hold 3 times a year. Usually it's an all-day workshop on campus at Stonebriar. However, due to the COVID situation, we are doing this in 6 incremental sessions, a week apart. And today is our 6th and final session for this presentation. So we're grateful to Stonebriar for all their support. This event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook, and you can find it at the Career DFW Facebook page. The recording will be on Career DFW Facebook after the session is over, and the session will also be posted on Career USA channel on YouTube for others to view in the future. And all previous 5 sessions from this workshop are also on Career USA YouTube channel and Career DFW Facebook, in case you want to go back for any of the other topics that were covered in this workshop. By participating in this event, we want you to be aware that if you post a comment in the chat box on Zoom or a comment on Facebook, or you have your microphone or camera on the Zoom session, you're inherently giving consent for your comments, name, and picture to appear. We just want to be sure you're aware of that. So in Zoom, if you're attending on the Zoom platform, please use the chat box to enter any questions you may have. Please begin your question with a question mark so we can pick it out easily, and then just state your question. After the presentation today, we will go back and we will try to address every question that was asked, and we will also be monitoring on Facebook. So please enter your question in the comments field if you're watching on Facebook. Today's agenda will be a message of encouragement, which is provided to us by Steve Fisher, who is the pastor of Care Ministries at Stonebriar Community Church, and the one responsible for sponsoring both Frisco Connect Job Networking Group and this Career Transition Workshop. He is the lead pastor of Care Ministries at Stonebriar and serves on a team that provides hope for those who are broken, discouraged, and hurting. And many of us go through those seasons in our lives, including loss of employment. So we're very grateful to Steve for his ongoing support. Our presentation today will be by Rex Saoit. Rex is one of the founders of the Career Transition Workshop, and I'll share a little more about Rex in a few moments. But the topic today is adopting your salary negotiation strategies to COVID-19. This is an excellent presentation that Rex has given recently on other channels, and it is full of wonderful information that I think will help and encourage you as you seek employment and get to that question to talking about salaries. So today's agenda, after Rex's presentation, as I said, we will have a Q&A panel with our panel of experts. And right now, that panel consists of Rex, that I mentioned before. He is a human resources recruitment and staffing manager at Jungle Aviation and Radio Service. JAARS is the acronym for that organization. Rex is a trained career transition and planning coach. Rex holds a BA in management from San Francisco State University. He is certified as a senior human resources professional with company learning in behavioral interviewing, inclusion and diversity, progressive performance improvement, conflict resolution, identifying team barriers, and improving team productivity. And Rex has been a leader on this workshop since its inception in April of 2001 at Crossroads Bible Church in Double Oak, Texas. With the last CTW online or Career Transition Workshop, We've served over 20,800 people, registered guests, in its 19-year ministry, and we will reach our 20th anniversary April of 2021. Also, we have Locke Alderson, who is a career consultant working with people in career transition. He's an executive, professional, and contract recruiter at Alderson and Associates. He's been in the recruiting business for over 40 years. And we're grateful to have him with us. He's a workshop speaker on rekindling your job search. He also gives seminars on LinkedIn for job hunters, avoiding the resume black hole, successful interviewing, what not to include in your resume, and negotiating the offer, as well as various aspects of using the tool LinkedIn. And he's spoken in many venues over the years, and so we're grateful to have him with us. We've also got with us Gail Bridgman. Gail is a certified career coach, and she has been with Lee Hecht Harrison for the last 11 years. Gail consults and trains on all aspects of career development and transition, including resume building, marketing plan development, branding, and social media presence, and networking, interviewing, and negotiation preparation. And we have with us Foster Williams. Foster is a longtime recruiter and the founder of the Career Search Network, and he is a connector. He is a relationships guy who connects people to help them build relationships that'll help them to the next step in their career. He is currently on many venues live. It would take most of our time to list all that, but Foster is, this is a ministry to Foster, who is not currently working as an active contract recruiter or corporate recruiter, but generally in the recruiting field, building a network to help those looking for employment so he can connect people to help them be successful in their search. And then we have Jeff Morris. Jeff, his working career is as an operations manager, production manager, and general manager. Jeff has a BA in broadcasting from Western Kentucky University. Since August 2007, Jeff has been the creator and monitor of the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, which meets every Friday at 9:30 a.m. online, helping professionals who are underemployed or unemployed with all areas of their job search. And so Jeff is the founder and director of Career DFW. In September of 2008, he created that site to assist professionals in networking and career management and placement with companies throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex through the website careerdfw.org. Careerdfw.org is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and Jeff does all of this pretty much on his own. He has a sister site he created in September of 2012 called Career USA to spread the function of Career USA throughout the country so others can take advantage of that resource. In September of 2012, Jeff was selected as one of 110 people from the US to attend the White House Forum on Job Clubs and Career Ministries. It was a conference held at the White House in 2012, and he was the only representative from Texas. Since then, after that conference, he has authored a book, Your Job Search, What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. And as I said, in 2012, he also launched CareerUSA.org, a website for those outside the DFW area. And myself, I am retired from corporate America, but I've been pleased to be associated with this team for over 10 years. And I am a volunteer at Frisco Connect, one of the networking groups in the DFW area, and also with this workshop, and pleased to be a moderator for this forum. So that's who our panel is. So we're going to go on to a message of encouragement from Steve Fisher, which will begin now.
Hello, my name is Steve Fisher. I'm a pastor of Care Ministries here at Stonebriar Community Church. On behalf of our senior pastor, Chuck Swindoll, and the entire Stonebriar family, we are glad that you are joining us today. It's one of those ministries where we are grateful that you're here. It breaks our heart that we have to be here. I also want to extend a deep Stonebriar gratitude to the leadership of the Career Transition Workshop. They are faithful servants who care deeply about this ministry, who care deeply about helping one another, who care deeply about you. And I'm sure as you go through the rest of this afternoon and the rest of these workshops, you will see that in how they share their information, how they care. I am, again, grateful for them. So what they've asked me to do is just to take a minute or two and to give you a word of encouragement or perhaps an opportunity to reflect before the workshop begins. And so I thought this week what I would do would be to start out with an allegory. An allegory is a story within a story. And let me share it with you. So there were two communities, one called upstream, another called downstream, held together, as you would think, by a stream. And one day the good citizenry of downstream found all kinds of bodies in the stream. Some of them were in tough shape. Some were already drowned. Some were struggling. And it presented a real crisis to the citizenry of downstream. And so they responded, and they responded well. They built triage medical units and rescue units and elaborate systems to take care of those people downstream that were hurting. And for that, they won all kinds of awards and civic awards. And so picture this one night. The uplights were on the buildings. The fireworks were in the air, and there was a great celebration because of the great response, sincerely good response to the bodies in the stream. And there was a grandfather and his granddaughter walking alongside the stream. And the little granddaughter, and they were holding hands, the little granddaughter said, "Grandpa, you are one of the patriarchs, founding fathers. You are a leader in our community, and you look so sad. I thought you would be happy." And the grandfather goes, "I keep asking one question, honey, and I can't get an answer to that." And the little granddaughter says, well, what's the question, Grandpa? How did the bodies get in the river in the first place?" That's the story. You see, upstream, the bridge was out. So when people would try and cross the bridge, they'd fall in the stream and be carried downstream. And again, the citizenry responded, but there was an issue upstream. And so I guess the point of reflection I'd like us all to embrace in this strange season is we do a lot of really good things downstream. I think the Career Transition Workshop, Frisco Connect, Southlake, Reach Up, Reach Out, and I'm just touching the surface of how we've responded to those in a job transition, the pit crew, and all of the helps that have arisen in this past decade or so as employment has sort of waxed and waned. And that's an absolutely wonderful thing, and a good and right thing. But I'm wondering if sometimes during this season, if you've stopped and you've begun to ask sort of a big question for you. The anxiety, the fear, the nervousness, the reality. And again, I surely don't want to be cavalier and dismiss by any measure the real concern that you have to provide for your family, to provide for yourself. Those are Those are serious and real. But perhaps during this time, as you are attending to the crisis or responding to the situation downstream, that you take a moment and you look upstream. And upstream in this scenario is, what's important to me? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Do the people I love know that I love them? Do I have a context for my entire life? Do I have a faith, a bridge that allows me to make sense of where I am and where I'm going? Some of those questions that, quite frankly, we don't get to answer. We don't take time to even ask when we're worrying about responding to the day-to-day crisis that we all have downstream. So that's my challenge, my point of reflection, perhaps, for today, is that amen to the work you're doing individually, to the work that we are all doing downstream. But I wonder if it's an okay time to begin to look upstream and ask those questions. What's important in my life? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Do the people I know that I love, do they know that? Have I been chasing something that has been put in front of me to make me feel okay about myself? Have I been trying to do things so that others would think I'm okay, or to satisfy needs and desires of others? Have I just not even thought? Have I just kind of gone along, and the next thing you know, I'm where I'm at? So yes, there is reason to work diligently downstream. But I also pray that we take this opportunity to look upstream at the bridges you've put in your life. From where I come from, faith is one of those bridges. And for some, their bridge is out. And we have a bridge builder as a God. And perhaps this is a time where you begin to think about those things. And so I wish you well this afternoon. I wish you peace and serenity. You're going to get some incredible information from some incredible people who really care about you. And so my desire as a pastor here at Stonebriar is that while you are doing all the right things, that you take a moment, look upstream in your life, and make sure there's not a bridge that's out. I look forward to speaking with you. If there's anything we can do at Stonebriar, please just get in touch with us. And have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Well, we're thankful to Steve for his message of encouragement. So he's always willing to share something to help us comprehend, understand, and deal with the pressures of day to day. So it's really wonderful to hear from him. So I want to take one more moment to acknowledge the team that puts this workshop together. I've covered almost everybody except two people, and one is Gail Houston. Gail cannot be with us today because she is waiting for the imminent birth of her first granddaughter. And Gail is the co-lead and co-founder of this workshop. And Gail is part of the executive recruiting team at Intuit. She's a speaker on many platforms, and her specialties are social media, program management, community management, as well as recruiting. The other member who's not with us today is Lori Davis. And Lori is a recruiter with improving.com, and she has been with them for the past 8 years. And she specializes in hiring mostly software engineers, developers, agile coaches, scrum masters, and product owners and other IT professionals. She's been a part of the CTW team and with Rex and Gail Houston since shortly after it started at the Crossroads Bible Church before it moved to Frisco, Stonebriar Community Church, excuse me. So those are the other two members of the team. Steve Fisher, who you just heard from, we talked a little bit about what Steve's position is, but there are two ladies at Stonebriar who work alongside Steve. One is Karen Hawkins, who is with the Missional Livings ministry at Stonebriar Community Church and does a lot of operational work to help us put on this workshop. And Jean Allen, who's a lead administrator and also helps us with a lot of back office work to help us get us set up on the links set up on the stonebriar.org website. And without the support of those people, this workshop wouldn't get put on in any way, shape, or form. So I just want to say thank you to that whole team. Now, as we go into our presentation with Rex, I just want to encourage you. You have in the upper right-hand corner of your screen a little thing that says view, and you might want to put that on speaker view so that you can see not only the presentation, but just Rex as he's presenting. And there is a dividing line between Rex's picture and the presentation, and you can move that left or right to change the proportion of how much each of those images covers on your screen. So I just want to be sure you're aware of that. And again, I want to remind you, if you're on Zoom, please use the chat box to enter a question. Begin with a question mark and then just give us your question, and we will get to everybody's question as quickly as we can after the presentation. If you're on Facebook, just enter your question in the comment field. You might want to begin it with a question mark as well, so we know you're not just making a comment, but actually seeking an answer from our expert panel after the presentation is done. So now I'm going to turn it over to Rex Saoit, who's going to talk to us about adapting your salary negotiation strategies to COVID-19. Rex, thank you for being here, and please go ahead, sir.
Rex, you're muted. There you go.
Thank you. Jeff, can I take the screen share from you? Thank you so much. Let me see if, let me get to my screen share. Continue. Yes. Let me get my slideshow set up from the beginning. Guys, how's that look? Okay. Let me do this. I want to know my audience just a little bit more. If you have hired someone, if you've hired someone as a hiring manager, can you just go in the chat box and say, yes, I have? And I just, again, I just want to see how, okay, it looks like a lot of folks. That's good. Okay, good. Let me slip into slide share mode. Okay. Thank you, first of all, for allowing the CTW ministry to serve you. It's both a blessing and a privilege and a pleasure to have everyone here. I've got until about 5 o'clock to turn it back over to John. What I wanted to do in salary strategies and negotiations, I wanted to do at least 2 segments. Number one, I wanted to give you fundamental thinking on salary preparation and your negotiation skill set. After that, building on that foundational platform, let's go over some COVID-19 recommendations. With COVID-19, how should my salary preparation change? Should I negotiate differently from a fundamental way. So we're going to be talking about this. So I'm going to pick up fast, and I'm going to pick up. I'm going to get faster as we go along. But by the way, I'm so happy to have the executive, or I'm sorry, the expert panel. We've got approximately 152 years of experience with strategies in talent acquisition, job seeking, staffing, and recruitment. Okay. Fundamentals of salary, strategies and negotiations. What I want to go over, and I've done this a couple of times, so I thank people if they wanted to join, and seeing this presentation one more time. There are two perceived losing positions as you go into your salary negotiation. Number one, you don't want to give a salary expectation that eliminates you. So a lot of people don't want to get into that salary negotiation because they think their salary expectation is too high, and because of that, it disqualifies you. Number two, a lot of people fear that if you give too low of a salary, then you've now lowballed the offer and you leave money on the table. And by the way, that thinking is shared basically on the Monster 2020 State of Candidates survey, where 73% of the respondents said that salary is not the number two, not the number three, but the number one most important factor when they considered a job offer. 58% said that they turned down an offer because the salary was too low. Now, the 73% does not surprise me, guys. The 58%, there is a controllable element in that candidate or with those candidates that tells me, boy, 58% is way too high. What did the individual do that they could have improved their salary negotiations and make sure that their salary wasn't too low? So let's go into that. In starting the salary negotiation, I want you to think of two things. I want you to be a prepared candidate, and I want you to take ownership. Rex, what do you mean by those things? One of the things that the recruiter and the hiring manager is looking for is information from you where you've done at least a couple things. You've done your homework in figuring out what kind of salary offer you believe you are worth in the market. And number two, looking at figuring this out, I know that it gets very emotional. I know it could get very, very personal. As a matter of fact, in looking at many of the stages of the job search, for most candidates, figuring out what their salary is the most emotional part. But I do want to relieve a lot of people's understanding. This, in salary negotiation, this is in many ways the most controllable part of the job search process. So let me give you some evidence on why I believe that. You may not know this, but I'm going to declare it right now. Recruiters will start their salary negotiations very, very, very early in the process. How many people will have to go through an applicant tracking system and say what kind of salary are they looking for? So with that information, does the recruiter pick this up? Absolutely, positively. And when you put that number in, it'll probably be the applicant tracking system will ask for probably two things. Number one, what salary do you prefer? Or what was your last salary in your job? Now, in the last salary of your job, there's a lot of legislation out there right now that's protecting the candidate from sharing salary history. So you may be relieved from that from states like California, New York, Oregon, Washington. They can't ask for salary history anymore. But I need you to be prepared for asking the question, if posed to you, what salary you're looking for. I'm going to probably speak for Gail Bridgman Foster Williams, for John Luce, for Jeff Morris, and Locke Alderson. Guys, if I don't ask you what salary you're looking for by the fourth question, I'm going to ask you that salary question. What are you looking for by the third question? Why is that? Because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. If you're looking for too high of a salary, and this is where you're going to be working with a really, really good recruiter. Many recruiters that you are working with right now won't give the salary, an accurate salary of the position that you're looking for. You will understand how credible and trusting that recruiter is if they say that, listen, this is what we can pay for the position. If that recruiter tells you that, then you know that you're working with a pretty credible recruiter. Just 2 weeks ago, I did ask for a salary expectation for an individual for one of my positions. She said, Rex, this is what I'm looking for. By the way, I'm not going to give her name out. She was looking for approximately $17 to $19 an hour. I told her very, very upfront, I can't make your high number, but I can probably meet you at $15 to $16 an hour. With that situation, I'm not only qualifying you for the salary, but what am I doing? I'm trying to establish two things: trust and a relationship with you. When you start understanding what salary you're looking for, I don't want you to be so closed off in thinking that all you're looking for is your base salary. I want you to start thinking of also things like healthcare insurance. How many people have COBRA? You now know how expensive monthly premiums are for medical expenses. I want you to also think of bonus, incentives, commissions, 401ks. All of these questions are part of your total compensation package. So start thinking of that. Rex, how do I come up with that? Okay. I want you to take a step back, and I want you to start to know your market. But your market involves things like your personal side, the labor market side, the industry market, relocation, if any, if you're looking to relocate, and a lot of people are looking to relocate nowadays. I want you to inventory your personal expenses when it comes down to mortgage, how much your car costs, healthcare expenses, fuel. All of those things now become part of your understanding of what salary you're looking for. Are you looking at other levels of positions? For example, I know a lot of people that are flexible. When they've been a director of accounting finance, they would look at an accounting manager position. They would look for a senior accounting position. And being able to be open with other positions that you might be qualified for. But understand, every level of position that's out there, there is a market worth and a market standing for that position. If you're looking for a higher level position, let's say the director of quality control and assurance, that has a number in the market that is worth in the market something much, much different than a senior quality assurance manager. So do I give that to you as a recruiter? No, I don't give that to you. You have to do that homework and understand that yourselves. If you're changing industries, and guys, I've been seeing a lot of people saying that, Rex, I really would like to get out of, for example, I'm not picking on this industry, hospitality and hotel, and I want to get into telecom. How does that affect your compensation? Basically, is the industry that you're looking for, are they a salary leader or a salary lagger? What do you mean by that, Rex? If you come from a industry of DoD, telecom, Big Four, I'm usually thinking that your compensation is much, much higher on the range. Salary laggard, if you're coming from, let's say, Big Four, and you're attracted to a position in retail, maybe mortgage services, you have to understand that those industries tend to not pay as competitively high as DoD, telecom, computer services, all of Big Four, all of those things. Guys, if you're looking to move, you've got to understand. If I talked to an individual the other week, she was now looking at the San Francisco Bay Area from Dallas, moving from Dallas. Should cost of living be significantly different in the San Francisco Bay Area? Absolutely, positively. You've got to factor that in your salary negotiations as well. Okay, so know your market. I am not going. I'm not an advocate. I'm not advertising for Salary.com. But for years and years and years and years and years, I felt that Salary.com is the best place to try to find out what your market worth is. A lot of people might ask, okay, Rex, I don't know what sort of salary that I'm looking for. What's the best way to determine what my salary range is in the market? What am I worth in the market? I like Salary.com because of the ways that you can take a look and use that tool to look at. And I put arrows on this page. You can ask the tool by job title, by location. This shows Dallas, Texas. I like how this shows. And hold on one second. Let me see if I can pull my annotator here. Hold on. Do people see my little arrow here? I like how Salary.com shows a curve, a distribution that shows the bottom 10%, 25th percentile, 50 percentile, which is medium average, 75th percentile, and 90th percentile. For this general accountant senior in Dallas, the median income is $79,970. This now gives you some information about your position. I also like this tool because you can dial in, guys, the number of years of experience that you have, direct reports that you have, and who you report to. So I find this as an extremely versatile tool. This is just one source to take a look at. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Rex, what's another source that I can take a look at? Your network. Find out what the other people are looking at for senior accountant, senior financial analyst, operations manager, quality assurance supervisor, human resources generalist, human resources business partner. You can go to your network and find out, hey, what are you getting in the market right now? Let me go to this next page. Okay. Let me see if I got what I want to do is give you a strategy that maximizes your flexibility in your salary negotiation, yet raises the upside leverage that you have on the salary offer that you can get. What do you mean by that, Rex? What I mean by that is I don't want you to give a rate or a point of expectation. So if I ask Maureen Martin, Maureen, what are you looking for? I don't want Maureen to say, Rex, I'm looking for $78,000 per year. I want you to give a range that shows a minimum and maximum of salary expectation. So I want people like Lynn to say that, Rex, the range of salary that I'm looking for is, and here's an example. The salary range that I'm looking for is low 70s to high 90s level, depending on, and this is key, depending on the understanding of the role and benefits of the package better than I have. Why does this salary strategy statement become effective for you? You give a very, very broad range here. I know low 70s to high 90s. Rex, that's a really big salary. Behaviorally, how does the recruiter respond? Do I look at this 90K level? No, I don't look at this 90K level, because you've now told me that you're willing to take low 70s for this position. By the way, if the salary offer becomes anywhere as high as 90K, do you accept that job? Of course you accept that job. It's this number right here that you have to be rock solid, convinced that you're willing to take this position. But with this contingency statement here, depending on understanding the role and benefits of the package better. That's key. Pardon me. Why, Rex, why is that? Because best companies give best benefits packages. A big four organization is going to give a better benefits package. Amazon, generally speaking, will give a better benefits package. And understanding that may help you with accepting an offer from that company. After you ask this, here's your response. After you give this salary statement, ask the recruiter or the hiring manager or whoever you're talking to, based on this compensation information for me, is this in line with the budget approved for this position? If you're dealing with a recruiter of integrity, they will tell you whether or not you're in the ballpark here, okay? If I've done this once, guys, I've done this 100 times. I've told candidates, your salary of low 70s is higher than the budget that I have for the position. And I've told people the maximum I can go is mid 60s to high 60s. And guess what, guys? It's up to you on whether or not you're going to say yes or no to that. If you say no to that, no problem. You don't waste time. If you say no to that, you don't get to be part of the 53% that got a lower salary increase than what they really thought. I hope people will ask me questions on this particular slide, because if there's one thing that I want you to really imprint in your thinking, it's this particular slide. Let's go to the next slide. Guiding principles of your negotiations, guys. If they don't ask you early, don't tell. You don't have to reveal your salary requirements early in the process if you don't have to. What that means is that give them an opportunity to love you. Give them an opportunity to understand your background. Give them an opportunity to think that you're exactly right for this position and this culture. But if you don't know the salary range or what they're looking to pay for by the third meaningful meeting, then you better know. I've got a story for people. There was a situation where a candidate, John Luce, thought that he was, it was a friend, by the way. And the friend said, hey, looks like you're going to get the salary offer. That's great. Candidate didn't know what the salary requirements for the position was and got, unfortunately, a salary about 50% lower than what he thought he was going to make. So if you don't know by the third meaningful meeting, what is the third meaningful meeting? that you're talking about, Rex. That is phone interview, second phone interview, and on-site interview. Those are all meaningful meetings to understand. Always bargain in good faith. Deceptive information will catch you every time. Do recruiters and managers talk? Yeah, we talk to each other. I had a situation. This was some time ago. Candidate was in my office. I said, "What's your salary expectation?" He said 105. I said, "Great." I asked the hiring manager, when you asked him what salary he was looking for, what did he tell you? 112. And this is 112K. The candidate did not bargain in good faith. You can also, guys, the criminal background check nowadays is some of the most intrusive information that we can ask for. Criminal background checks where they were, gosh, 5 to 7 years ago versus the criminal background check right now that most people will get in their next job. Rex, what does the criminal background check ask for? Generally, it asks for this. It asks for any convictions in misdemeanors, any convictions in felonies. Depending on the position, it can go all the way to an FBI check. Generally speak, FBI check, what do you mean by that? Casinos will check FBI. Let's see, hold on one second. There's one more industry. Teachers, at least in Oklahoma, FBI background check, okay? If you can, network with the hiring authority quickly. Rex, give me an example of that. If you know, let's say Foster Williams, and Foster Williams knows everyone, by the way, he's first degree with everyone. If you can give his name out to people and say that, listen, Foster Williams is someone that you know. Oh, Foster Williams. What I'm saying is that if you know someone that knows someone within the organization, you've got a 33% chance, better chance of getting an offer. So leverage that, leverage your network as soon as you can. Schedule the interview faster than slower. That means that if you can get in the interviewing seat faster, let's say early in the week, do so. I can't tell you guys how many times hiring managers have come to me and said that, Rex, guess what? Unless I fill this position by close of this week, my requisition is going to get pulled. In that situation, you've got your interview, you've interviewed with the hiring management, they can start selecting you. I want you, especially in this COVID time, investigate the physical health of the company. A lot of companies are going underwater now, and you need to know which companies are at fiscal risk. Fiscal risk means reduction in budget. Reduction in budget means layoffs. Okay. The best counteroffer strategy, guys, and I'm gonna pick up the pace a little bit because I've got to turn it over to John in about 12 minutes. The two best ways to on counteroffer strategy is looking at industry comparison or job and role comparison. This is where your homework comes in. You know what the salary ranges that you're looking at because you've done the analysis of what your position will pay in the market. If you believe that your position or the offer is lower than what you can expect, you can come back to the recruiter and say that, listen, I'm very, very, it's very, I feel very complimented that you're making me an offer. However, this position appears to be paying about 25% lower in the market that I've done my research on. Is there any way that your offer can come closer to that amount? Or you then counteroffer strategy on job and role comparisons. I'm very complimented. I feel very humbled that you're giving me an offer. I've done my homework. This position pays approximately 14% lower than what I've done my homework on. Can your offer come closer to that amount? You're not demanding, you're deferring, you're asking, and let's see, professionalism and courtesy goes a long way. If you can't negotiate a higher salary, my recommendation, guys, is negotiate the position from with PTO and vacation. I've given more flexibility for PTO and vacation. A lot of people have had 4-5 weeks of vacation, and they try to negotiate that third week of vacation. That I particularly like the fourth bullet. When you can, if there's a situation where you can negotiate a merit performance increase rather than the 12 months in 6 months. Rex, how do I do that? How does that sound like? You can say something along the lines of this. I would like to take the 2 hardest projects that you have right now, and if I knock it out of the park, would you be open to taking a look at my salary 6 months from now? And guess what? You knock it out of the ballpark and you get to go back to your management and try to negotiate a higher rate of pay or your offer in 6 months rather than the 12 months. The last bullet is the open-ended question. Can you do better with this offer? So if you say that, Rex, it just takes too long for the first four bullets, can you do better with this offer? And let me give you the secret, guys. I've supported people like Jeff and John Luce. They always have just a little bit more in their budget because that manager, that caring manager, empathetic manager will always ask me this, Rex, if I kick in another couple of $3,000, $5,000, will that close the deal? And I'll say yes, and I generate that offer. Let me give you a story on this. Candidate comes in, salary expectation was 103. The guy told me, Rex, in looking at the job role and role comparisons, the minimum that I can accept is 112K. Guess what? He got the 112K. Why? Because he was the best candidate for the position, and we didn't want to lose him, and we needed to close him. Okay. Your employer's compensation upside, really important. And a lot of this involves healthcare, medical, dental insurance. Does your insurance kick in 30 days, 90 days, 60 days? When can I contribute in 401k? What's the educational reimbursement of the program? And what's the profit or company stock? Why are you going over this slide, Rex? The reason why is that I want you to expand your thinking, guys, to thinking something other than base pay. Insurance, if it's an elite company, will pay upwards to 30, 31, 32% of your base pay in medical, dental, 401k, eye care or vision, and PTO. All of these things are compensation elements that you need to think of. Okay. Now let me go over COVID-19. And John, I'm going to turn this over to you probably in 7 minutes versus 5 minutes.
No, that's fine. You can go to 4:05 if you need.
Okay, thank you so much. Here's the question, guys. Has COVID-19 made my salary negotiations harder, tougher, or to read, to know, and to win? And if the answer to that is yes, how do I adapt my strategy to win? The number one change. Let me move my. See if I can move that. Understand this. Market data for salary offer guidance is really inaccurate now because it hasn't picked up the last 8 months of salary analysis, and I'm looking at things like salary.com, Glassdoor, Indeed. Those are probably the three best market indicators that can give you some information on what the salaries look like right now. These are the one salary. These are the best four, I think, intelligence compensation tools that you can take a look at. I talked about salary.com, Glassdoor. PayScale is now used by a lot of Fortune 500 companies. So I like PayScale is coming on, wasn't there about 4 or 5 years ago. CareerBuilder has always been a classic source for getting information, and of the job boards, I like Indeed as much, if not more than Glassdoor.com. So you've got now at least 4 sources to take a look at what your salary compensation data looks like in the market. This is the best information that I had. I think that it comes from the Wall Street Journal. August 3rd or 4th is where I found this. Guys, anytime that I see information where companies are beginning to restore managers' salaries internally, that tells me that people are ready to restore or getting ready to restore salary offers for external candidates. So I'm seeing the market change just a little bit for specific companies and specific industries. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, guys. See, when you do some data or intelligence gathering about the job, I want you to be much more finicky about probing what the job description content looks like in terms of essential duties of the job. What I've seen now in COVID, because they've laid off 50% of their department, guess what? Essential duties of the job have now expanded. So I want you to take really good notes, ask a lot of questions on what the essential duties of the job are, because guess what? I've seen too many jobs now, what I call supersize those jobs, because they unfortunately had to lay off a lot of people. Internal pay reductions are affecting job offers. 151 companies of the analysis reduced pay structures or reduced pay in 143 of those. That affects external jobs. Now, Rex, which industries are really getting hit hard? Hospitality got hit hard. Retail got hit hard. They just announced 19,000 layoffs in, if it wasn't Delta, it was American Airlines. I forget. Airline and aviation is getting hit hard. Travel and transportation services and conglomerate industries, for example, General Electric. So those industries are getting hit very hard with this COVID. How does that affect your strategy? It affects your strategy because you might have to lower your salary expectations for a company that you're looking for in some of these industries. So basically ask this question: has this industry been overly affected by the COVID pandemic than others? I want you, these are the new COVID-19 questions that I know that I'm asking when I talk to candidates, what candidates are asking me. Is this a new position or replacement? Again, a lot of layoffs, could be a lot of replacement, a lot of replacements that recruiter is looking for. Is the hiring manager new in their role? Guess what? If they're new in their role, they're not that great. Well, let me put it this way. Their coaching and mentoring skills are probably not as seasoned or peaked as a hiring manager that's been in their job for a long time. of all the questions that I'm giving you right now, I want you to hone in on the third bullet. How are you measuring my success in the first 90 days and 6 months? What duties am I getting measured on? What projects am I getting measured on? And have a very, very key critical assessment on whether or not you could succeed in that job in the first 90 days and 6 months. Because guess what? If you can knock it out of the park in 90 days or 6 months, you might be able to convince that manager that you can get a promotion in that time. If you get a promotion in that time, guess what? You get a merit increase with those. Okay. Guys, this is my contact information. I put my information down here for a reason, to contact me. If you're hearing something where you think, Rex, that really sounds bizarre, give me a shout. I'll go over with you, and if you could use the information, please do. If it helps you get your next job, that's what I'd like to see. So, John, the time right now is 5:02. Let me turn it over for you.
Well, it's 17:02 at your place. It's 16:02 at my place. Anyway.
Okay.
You know, Rita Callens made a note in the chat that nonprofits are also hit hard. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Gail?
Guys, yeah.
Gail, you're
Gail.
shaking your head.
Yes. And here's part of what I've been reading is that charitable contributions have gone down to a lot of different groups that help people that are struggling and going through difficult times. So if the contributions are down, then if they're paying anyone to work for them, you know, they're going to have to make cuts too. If they have a certain need and they're not getting that amount of money, then they have to make cuts as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Rex, one of the questions I came up with when you were talking a few minutes ago about negotiating on other benefits other than the base salary is you kind of mentioned the 401k, but it's very important to know what the 401k match might be, because that's free money. You know, and some companies have cut their 401k match, others have remained, and so a few companies have even increased it, depending on the you know, the activity in their industry and what revenue streams are. So I just wanted to mention that. Also, now Laura Hyatt asked, what about if you're starting to talk about the compensation for a position in a newly created position at a company, how do you start that conversation?
Yeah. I like the genius of that question, because generally speaking, guys, the new position tends to be lower paid than a position that's been around for 5, 10, 19 years, okay? Because that new position tends to be, guess what, underpriced in the market, because why? It's new, okay?
Right.
Now, even though it's a new position, I want to focus your thinking, guys, on, again, what am I supposed to deliver? What are the essential responsibilities for the position? What duties am I being measured on? What projects are going to be put in on my plate in the next 6 months, 3 months? So the newness of the job is important, but more than that, let's get to the meat of the matter, and that's what am I supposed to deliver in terms of in terms of this job.
Well, thank you for that response, because you made a statement a few minutes ago about or in your answer you made a statement about, if you know, what are the duties of a new position. My thought there was, if you have a target company, which many people don't, which I think you should, think it through to get to that level of targeting on first decide your industry, whether you're pivoting or not, and then target companies, is job descriptions. You mentioned on a previous presentation of this that some job descriptions can be old. And you also mentioned today that if you have a new hiring manager, and the job description is old, you want to network with people, hopefully in that target company, to find out what the real responsibilities are so you can do your research before you're even in the interview. Because sometimes job descriptions are old or they're poorly written. My point of view is that depending on the organization, a hiring manager may write the job description, but then it gets processed to HR and it may get edited or revised. And so the job description that you look at online, you really don't know how accurate that is. Locke, do you have anything to say about that?
Well, I'm sorry, repeat the question then.
Job descriptions.
A lot of job descriptions are out of date. A lot of
Right.
job descriptions that are posted as online job postings are not what the hiring manager is really looking for. A good way to determine some of that is, but in your interview with somebody, your front end interview with somebody, after they ask you the question, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. You turn around and you have a transition question, something like, I've told you a little bit about me. Can you tell me about the ideal candidate that you're looking for? It creates a straw man that you're looking for. That straw man, you can do some research on what that straw man looks like on some of the salary information Rex put forth. So that's a way to do that. But if the salary information is not out of date, is not correct, it's related to the job description that goes through salary tables in compensation and benefits. It's not the hiring manager's situation in many cases.
Hey, John, I see Gail nodding her head emphatically. Gail, can you contribute?
I totally agree with what Locke is saying. And you look at today's environment, many companies are still working remote, and many of them have said they're going to keep being remote for who knows how long, some forever and some for an extended time. I have different clients I'm working with that some of their people are back at their office campuses, but most of them are still working remote from their home. So you think about job descriptions, and with cuts, especially in some industries, you made an excellent point, Rex, about how they may expect you to take on more responsibilities that are outside the realm of even the written job description. So that becomes very important to try to nail that down. That's a great opportunity, though, too. If you're looking at a company and they want you to take on more responsibility, that's a chance for you to grow and make yourself valuable to the company as well. So that's kind of a mixed blessing. It can go either way, but it looks to me like a neat opportunity. If you can get into a company that you really want to get into and they want you to take on more responsibility, then that's great. You just have to make sure you can deliver and that you're not penalized because of doing that.
But you have to ask the question, is this job being supersized?
Exactly. That's such a great term, Locke. Exactly.
Lene Adams asked a question about startup companies and a specific question about the merit increase. Can you ask them a specific percent to consider?
Yeah. For a startup company, because they're trying to establish themselves in the market, John, the situation is that company may not be able to give robust salary increases or merit increases after 1 year. They're looking at starting their brand survival. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, the industry averages that I've seen, 3 to 4% has been the merit increases that I've seen in the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the startup company, guys, if they can't risk it, you don't get a biscuit. Usually, if after 1 year they knock it out of the ballpark, what that new company might be able to do is really give you a much, much higher merit increase. But guys, look at the environment. Startup companies, 40 hours is going to be part-time. It's going to be 55, 60, 65, 70 weekends, Sundays. You might have to get on a plane on Sunday night to get home on a Thursday and then do the cycle over again for the next month.
I know when I went to work for Siebel, the initial company employees had basically worked for sweat equity, meaning they didn't even get a salary. They got stock options or stock grants when the company was going to go public, but they did not get any money in the way of salary for the first year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, Patty Bashy shared in the chat that she would ask for an immediate 401k contribution instead of having to wait 6 months or a year to become vested. She negotiated that on her last job. And she said there's also a Bureau of Labor Statistics site on salaries for major metropolitans area, and she gave the link. So I would encourage everybody to look at her posting. She posted it to everybody, and copy that link so that you can use that as an additional resource to the ones Rex gave. He gave 4 or 5 a couple of slides ago before we started the Q&A.
Patty's a smart cookie too. I see her a lot on these calls. You know, thank you so much, Patty.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have any other questions posted in the chat. So
There is a question on Facebook.
okay. Okay, thank you. Michael Zubrist asked, do you have a suggestion on how to manage the application process where a range for salary is not accepted?
John, I want to hear Jeff Morris's answer and Foster Williams' answer on that one.
Foster, it's all yours.
Do you want me to repeat the question, Foster?
I do indeed. I'm a little
Okay.
tough when it comes to salary. Everybody may not agree with me. What I share has worked in the past and multiple times for me. So go, John.
Okay. So Michael is asking for a suggestion on how to manage the application process where a range for salary is not accepted. I'm assuming what he means is they want a specific number.
Yeah, they probably are. A number of companies, especially. Is this a startup situation, John, did you say?
He didn't indicate.
A number of companies, as Rex alluded to earlier, a number of companies are hiring for a position that they may not have had open before. They really don't know what they're going to have to pay for some of these positions. Sometimes they get out there and fish and see what I've been involved in these companies before. We're going to get out there and get the people and see what we're going to have to pay for the level of years that we're asking for the experience. So at that point, I stick to my salary where I have been already in providing that service. And I tell the company, and if the company does not agree with my salary within reason, then that's not going to be the company for me.
Again, one of the things that came up in another chat question, and this may be the question that our original person was asking about, when you're filling in an online application like that, sometimes they ask you to fill in a salary amount. And if you don't fill something in, it will not allow you to complete the application. One suggestion is to put a number like a 1 or a 0. It requires a numeric figure in there, so put 1 in there. When they see it, they'll know that it's a phony number, but it may get you past the block on the application blank.
That's a diminishing over the last probably 4 years, guys. That has been a diminishing effect. Corporate America got used to us doing that because they realized that they were not being fair with that thing. But guys, we need to absolutely know where we need to be salary wise. Talk to the significant other. Find out where you need to be salary wise and stick to that. You will be surprised I have expected to see companies dropping salaries because of COVID, because the first thing that pops into somebody's mind out there is that, oh, well, all these people were without a job out there and we should be able to find somebody, for less money, less pain for the company. And I've always, and I do use that word, I've always found that the right salary can be obtained given the right fit that the company is looking for. They need that position filled. They need that somebody in that seat to perform that function so that they can support their clients, and that's money.
Well, Michael posted on Facebook an additional comment. He said it's not a startup, and yes, a specific number is only allowed. And Locke, I think, addressed that in that field. Put a numeric character,
yes,
even if it's a 0 or a 1. But he says it's not a startup.
Right. If a 0 or 1 doesn't work, guys, do not. Did I say do not? Do not be afraid to put your salary that you're looking for there.
Okay.
Another thing that's going on with all of the reductions and the furloughs of people right now, companies, and I heard, the numbers like American Airlines letting 19,000 go. Some of these companies are still doing hiring. Sometimes the hiring
Yes.
is on a contractual basis. I know in one of the networking groups that I'm in, people have gone to work for places like Southwest Airlines, and they're on a contract basis. They're not hired full-time, but if the economy picks back up, there's a possibility that they can go full-time.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, Mariah asks, when you're applying online, is it better to put a range or open to negotiate, or quote, open to negotiation based on understanding the role and benefits package better, unquote, to get your foot in the door and then negotiate later?
Yeah, Mariah, for when I use that statement of strategy on understanding the role and benefits package better, my recommendation is to do that voice to voice when you have that recruiter on the line.
Or hiring manager.
When you're applying online and the only person, you're not even talking to a person, you're talking to a system, you're talking to the machine. And something like that, I'm going to fall back to what Brother Williams said, which is, guys, with conviction and with understanding and with a lot of homework, declare what you want. Okay. If the system will take $1 and you want them to love you with a phone call and with an interview, and you can get that interview with $1, then you can do Locke Alderson's strategy. I will say this, and this backs up both what Locke and Foster are saying. If you're the most qualified for the position, do I call you if I think that it's a high number, or if I think it's a low number? If you're qualified, I call you and I find out what you're really looking for. And guess what? I start negotiating.
Very good point. Yeah, I think this is a piece of the whole transaction, and that, if you put $1 on the online application, which goes through the machine, as you discussed, meanwhile, hopefully you're networking to get a interpersonal connection, to have a conversation and to communicate with the person you need to communicate, so that you can get that face-to-face interview regardless of what you put into the machine. So
Yeah, you have to remember that probably only 2%, it's the numbers I've seen, that only 2% you only have a 2% chance of getting a phone call when you submit something in an ATS system. So, there's a speaker who comes down here from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and her recommendation is don't waste your time. If you see a job you're interested in, go to LinkedIn, find somebody in LinkedIn, and try to network your way in through the company. Because if you can get someone to get your resume to a hiring manager or to the HR department, you probably have a 50% chance that you will at least get a phone call. So,
right.
Network your way in.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. Okay. Let's see what else. I don't have anything new. Let me see, do I have anything on Facebook? No. Michael says, good advice, thank you very much.
Okay.
So.
John, can I ask Foster and Jeff this? You guys are at the ground level at Dallas DFW. Do you see companies that are reducing their salary because of COVID?
I have not. A lot of times people are sticking to their guns. They're doing exactly what I suggested a while back. But then you will hear some people complain that, well, I took a job, and this is not out of the ordinary. I took a job at a little bit less than what I was before. That has been a common thing, but I am convinced that we have the power over what we go to work for. We say yes, we say no to the salary offer, and we're the ones that determine that. So I've heard some people, because of the pressure, that have taken a little bit less money. I don't, it's for Foster. I can't say it doesn't work for them. I don't know their family situation, but I have found that if we stick to our guns and we have we are the ones that they want to hire, they'll make it work.
Well, Steve Sherrill is asking, should our target salary, not the minimum, be the middle of the range that we provide?
Okay.
Well, I think yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
You're on, Jeff.
I think that your target salary not be the minimum. Your target, you've got to know your minimum, right? Your target salary should probably be maybe 40%, 40, 50% of the range, somewhere in that range. If you were to get the 90 to 100% or, get the top end of the range, I think that, that would be extraordinary. But if you do the research, I think you understand, well, here's what the median range is. And I think that if you go and you present that to a company, well, here's what the median range is according to salary.com, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, it says that this is what the range is.
That's what the marketplace is.
Right. Yeah. I think, a company, say, well, we don't pay market rate. Okay, fine. Then you don't get my services. I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So, you just have to have a range and know what that is and be ready to justify it. And like Rex said, you have to take stock of what do you need? What do you need to survive? And so that becomes your minimum, and you just don't accept anything under that.
Steve, on another strategy point, and I want you to emphasize this, because let's say you're asking for a minimum of 70, which was the example, because you now know a lot more about the position and the role and the scope and the contribution and the measurements, you can climb up into your range much higher to your maximum. That's what gives you the flexibility and the leverage. You're giving yourself a minimum so you can get into the game. But to play the game and get what you want, that's why you have the flexibility of that higher amount, or that higher part of the range that you're looking at. So so at that point, when you know more about the position, you can now figure out, oh my gosh, that's a position that's going to require about 65 hours of my week. Okay, climb your range, ask for the higher number. Your range gives you that flexibility.
We have we have a project manager, a telecom project manager that's part of Frisco Connect. His salary range, his last job, he was at 93. So he was considering 85 to 90, and of course, anything above that. He applied to T-Mobile. Rex, our buddy Dennis, is over there. and he applied to T-Mobile, and the hiring manager decided that he was the one that he wanted to hire. And he was trying to get him at his 85 range that he put, but he was unwilling to do what T-Mobile was asking him to do for 85. So he said, he went to Dennis and he said, Dennis, I'd love to come aboard, but what you guys are asking for me to do, it's going to require a little bit more money than 85. They hired him at 105.
Wow.
Now, Dennis was that internal connection, the right. Dennis is one of us. And Dennis knew what he was playing with. He's been there for a while. He knew the hiring manager. He made that thing happen. So that goes back to what Jeff Morris was saying. Guys, network your way into that position if you can. You never know. We are absolutely, you could cut us in half, is what Paul Cameron up north in Chicago said. You could cut our network in half, and we're still the largest job seeker network in the United States. Let's take advantage of that, guys. As you guys get a job, myself, Gail Bridgman, Rex, Jeff, we stay up with you guys. We want to know what's going on. We develop relationships. Just because you got a job doesn't mean that Rex doesn't want to talk to you anymore. He's still interested in what's going on. So you knew that I was going to use that relationship word. You know, I have known Locke Alderson my entire career. I locked horns with Locke a long time ago. And we're still there. I can call Locke and ask Locke specific things because I know I will absolutely get the accurate answer.
All right, for Christmas, we're going to get you a T-shirt with the word relationships across.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, but
I am the chief relationship officer, really, truly, of the Career Search Network, with the three of us that started the Career Search Network.
well, Jane Ellen Graham asked a question. What if the position you're shooting for is a specialized position that you can't find any research on with, you know, for salary history and that type of thing?
I want to hear Gail's answer to this.
Right.
And that'll be the last question.
She's nodding emphatically, so I trust her.
Well, I think the key thing, and it's what Foster said, look at the company where you're trying to get into, and then who do you know in that company? And oftentimes it may not be a direct, I call it a friend, somebody that you know directly. It could be somebody they know that might be your best asset. And to me, I would network with whoever you can get to in that company, because that is so important. I mean, we learned back in 2008, I met Foster and I met Jeff, and then I met Locke and Rec and Gail and Lori, all during that time when I went through my last big career transition. And meeting people and having people to help me by saying, here, I know this person at XYZ company, that's huge. So don't hesitate to ask, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen? You ask somebody to help you and they're not going to help you. Well, so what? You move on to the next one. That was how I got into Lee Hecht Harrison. I went to networking groups religiously every week. And I was at Dennis O'Hagan's group, bless his soul. And I stood up and I learned, I implemented the things that I learned from these groups. And I gave my little speech to people in the room that were other job seekers. And I said, I'm looking for a career coaching role. And here is my set of target companies. Lee Hecht Harrison is my top company. Do you know anyone there? And it was so amazing after that meeting, when I identified exactly what I wanted, I was looking for contacts. I must have gotten 20 different names because people that had been in there had worked with career coaches at different companies. So I started getting all kinds of names, and I got a name from Dennis O'Hagan. He said, here, call Donna Mignot at Lee Hecht Harrison. Tell her I sent you. And I did. I called her. And I was scared. I mean, back then I was just like, what am I doing? I felt I was really nervous. And I called her on a Friday afternoon, expecting to get her voicemail. And she answered the phone. I said, hi, Donna. You know, my name is Gail Bridgman, and Dennis O'Hagan sent me to you. She goes, anybody that's a friend of Dennis's is a friend of mine. How can I help you? Oh, And I went into my short spiel and she said, send me your resume. I'll get it to the right person. And the rest is history, and that was so cool because I didn't know her, but Dennis knew her. So use your referrals and send an invitation. Those of you on the call today, send an invitation to connect with each one of us on the team. It'd be nice if you'd include a little note, met you through the CTW. That way we know that is a reference, but we'd love to connect with you because when you land your new job, you're a connection for us too in that company, wherever you land. And I've done that in the past. I've worked with clients who've landed great jobs with great companies. I've reached out to past clients and asked for help for current clients that are looking for work. So use your networks. Don't be afraid. I'm so glad I wasn't afraid that day. I was nervous.
I'll go on that one particularly. Don't just network at the company that you're looking to get into. If you're a specialist in an area and it's a very narrow discipline, go to your network, not the network at the company, and find out other people. Don't ask them what they're making, but ask them, what does this job kind of pay in the industry? Or go on LinkedIn and do a search. And when you come up with a search for somebody with like your background, introduce yourself to them and build a relationship, Foster's word. And then you can ask some of the questions like, what is this kind of a job paying in the industry? Because I worked with a candidate, again, with Lee Heck Harrison, thanks to Gail Bridgman, worked with a candidate in Arkansas. The company he was with was there were no other jobs like his after he was let go in Arkansas. I mean, he was with one company and it was a very specialized position. He had to look anywhere in the Southwest for a job. So in that particular situation, those kind of jobs, you're going to have to go somewhere else to find out the salary information about that. But what are jobs like that paying?
Thank you. Good advice. Thank you very much. Well, okay. Thank you, everybody. Great information. We're going to wrap it up now. So again, to save the chat, open your chat icon at the bottom of your screen. And when you do, there'll be a page icon, the word file, and to the right of that will be a circle with 3 dots. If you click on that, it'll give you an opportunity to save your chat. You click on Save Chat, and it'll save it as a text document to your laptop or computer. And this session was recorded and will be on Career DFW Facebook page and on the channel, the Career USA YouTube channel. If you want to go back and review it, fill in some additional notes. What I would typically do is copy the chat page, print it out, and then go back and listen again and make notes on what I may have missed. So that can be a very, very useful tool for you. So I'm going to close this in a prayer, and we'll let everybody get on with their afternoon. So if you wouldn't mind joining me, Heavenly Father, we pray for all those on this call looking for employment. Guide them. You have a position for them. We just don't know what it is yet. Grant them favor with employers and recruiters, but most of all, let them have patience and wisdom and perseverance in their search, and provide the needs they have as they wait on you to provide that position. We're grateful for your presence in our lives. We're thankful for the team that does so much to put this information together and to walk alongside others. And so we pray that you would guide us as we continue on this part of our journey for all of us. So may we focus on your will for our lives. And we pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you, John.
Thank you. We'll be back in 2021. We'll announce it all over the place. Hopefully we can do it live, but we may be on Zoom again. That will be determined as we go further. So God bless you all and have a great day, a great evening, and a great week.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you again, John.
Everyone.
Well, Jeff, host.